Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now a while back I was able to go on an awesome mountain hiking, camping, and backpacking trip with my family. Awesome. But even more awesome, I was able to bring the FOBOS Knives Tier1-C. So here in my hands, the FOBOS Tier1-C in 3V. FOBOS, for operators by operators. This here, I would say this is a smaller survival knife or a mid-sized camp knife. Beautifully constructed, awesome features, just everything about this screams premium. On top of that, a gorgeous leather sheath, which didn't come looking exactly like this. This became a little bit of a project for me, and we're going to go through that in a little bit of detail. And so today what we're going to do, we're going to go through these in detail. I'm going to go out into the field, show you all the field use footage. Then we're going to come back to the studio where I go through all of the features and talk to you a little bit about what I did to get the sheath looking like this. And then I'll wrap it up and I'll give you my final thoughts. And so when we get back, I'll start with that field use footage. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. And so now, as we get into the FOBOS Knives Tier1-C, this knife has a total weight of 1 pound, 7.8 ounces with the sheath. The knife alone, 15.0 ounces. The sheath, 8.6 ounces. This knife is made with 1/4 inch CPM 3V. With an overall length of 12 1/8 inches, the blade length 6 3/4 inches, the cutting edge 5 3/4 inches. This has a generous 1-inch finger choil and a handle length overall of 5 inches. This has an inner grip area of 4 3/4 inches and a maximum thickness at the widest swell of 7/8 of an inch. Additional features on this knife, you will find some nice thumb scallops, some generous jimping, a non-lethal pommel, an oversized lanyard hole, and a ferro rod with a striking notch. In addition, some sort of advanced features like a Persian swedge. This also has an unsharpened swedge right on the tip, and you'll notice that the handle does have 3-bolt-on scales. Now the FOBOS Knives guarantee and warranty is absolutely fantastic. So if you take a look at their documentation, you will notice that you do get a lifetime warranty, and this can be transferred to all customers. So whether or not you keep the knife or you sell it or you give it to someone in your family or friends, it doesn't matter. The warranty will prevail. So very nicely done from FOBOS. They absolutely stand behind their products. This particular knife, the Tier1-C, this is made again of CPM 3V. The primary bevel is a full convex edge down to around 22 degrees. They say it's non-tangential and it's definitely capable for heavy duty and hard use. The secondary bevel, in this particular case, it does have a shallow flat grind. So it does have a recurved design, and it gives it the ability to slice through the entire stroke. So overall, a beautiful blade shape, absolutely fantastic. Now again, the secondary bevel down to around 20 degrees. The secondary bevel being very sharp at 22 degrees. Again, very good for hard use. This is a fantastic blade with a nice overall size and shape, and just makes a great camp knife. Overall, just a wonderful camp companion, capable of doing all sorts of different tasks. So you can see I've already worked my way through the batoning. Very effective. Getting some of my larger pieces processed down, but in this particular case, getting into some of the chopping. So getting some branches and all these little twigs and sort of basic pieces of wood that I'm going to be able to leverage for my kindling. Now you notice that I do have to re-grip from time to time. Not too big of a deal, but I did find that the handle is just a little bit thin towards the pommel end, which would be where you'd typically like to have a little bit of a flair when you get into these chopping tasks. But this particular knife, large enough and with enough mass and having a nice belly and capable of doing those chopping tasks, I can say it overall did a fantastic job. But moving forward, you'll notice now getting into the carving tasks. You definitely have a few different grips you can leverage. You can go with that full hammer grip all the way, covering that entire handle, good and comfortable, or you can get up on the finger choil. For me, I did find that I sort of struck a little bit of a difference in a balance, but I did try all of the different grips. In some cases, the full hammer grip, in some cases with my thumb over the top.
A little too thin right there. It's not really working very well for me. I don't really want to get all the way up on the choil, and I'm finding kind of that middle ground right there is exactly the thickness that my hand is looking for. I feel like the handle on this is a little thin. You could see in the chopping tasks, it wasn't indexing very well. It doesn't have much of a flare in the back, which leaves it a little bit lacking, but I'm definitely capable of getting the work done. Just need to be mindful and pay attention to that grip.
Now, one thing is for sure, you absolutely cannot control all of the different variables. I'm not sure exactly what kind of wood I have here, but you can see, for the most part, the knife doing a nice job. I would say that the wood is definitely somewhere in the hardwood range. It's probably maple in this particular case, which can sometimes have a twisted grain. Now, of course, I did process this from wood that I found pretty much out in the wilderness, but at the same time, doing a nice job overall. The Phobos Tier1-C, fantastic.
Definitely getting down and through the wood. Edge geometry seems pretty good overall. I'm definitely able to find that grind angle without too much difficulty, and it's taking some nice curls. Getting my tinder bundle ready here for my fire, so pretty good so far. I do feel like the edge geometry is a little bit broad, and the only reason why I say that, it's good, but not as razor sharp as a thinner stock. Keep in mind this is 1/4 inch stock, so it is going to be just a little bit thicker, and with that sort of 3/4 saber grind, by the time it gets to the back edge of that grind, for the overall size of the blade, the mass, and then the thickness behind the edge, there's not much you can do. And the nice thing is it is striking the balance perfectly between sliceability and durability. You can see in the batoning tasks, this thing is just a champ, and at chopping, pretty good in general terms. So striking the balance nicely between the sort of harder use and the finer tasks. So I wouldn't change it. I just think it's slightly broad if you're looking for a slightly slicier knife. I am getting up on the finger choil now. Actually feels really good. It is leaving a little bit of a hot spot, seemingly right at that transition where the jimping kind of curls off on the corner of the G10 right there. So just a little bit of a hot spot, but it doesn't bother me. I'm just pointing it out, being nitpicky. This is a performance knife, so gotta pick it apart a little bit.
And so I love having the ability to get my survival knives out into good, practical field use. It's not always about the backyard testing, although if you've been watching my channel, you absolutely do see me doing a whole bunch of backyard testing. That's an important part of my channel, but the reality is, if you're gonna have a survival knife and a survival class knife, you need to get it out into the wilderness to try it out. And for me, to really rely on the Phobos Tier1-C for all of my camp duties, that's just awesome. I love the ability to have the opportunity to test it. I love the opportunity to really get out there and rely on my knives, rely on their overall capabilities. And if they're gonna work, they're gonna work, and if they're gonna fail, they're gonna fail. But, well, have no fear with the Phobos Tier1-C, absolutely capable of doing all of the work. So time and time again, getting my wood fully processed down, getting ready for a fire, and just really enjoying the fact that I need to leverage this knife for all of my tasks. It has been absolutely wonderful. But it's not all about the wood processing. That's just part of the duties. I really, again, do need to leverage this for all of my tasks. So what about as I turn the corner and I get into a little bit of food prep? At this point, I've used the knife long enough, I've beat on the edge long enough, I've chopped, I've split, I've batoned, I've done a whole bunch of good hard work. What about the edge? Super, super sharp. Absolutely no damage, no chipping, no rolling whatsoever, and just going through all of my vegetables just super easy. Nice and comfortable and slicey. And this is where having those little scallops on the handle scales really does come into play for that alternate grip. Leveraging the knife more for that sort of kitchen knife style, just doing a wonderful job. Having a nice belly, the ability to work comfortably down onto the surface, good and slicey, controlled, no problem. But what about things that might be a little more delicate, like for example, preparing these peppers? Some knives absolutely just split peppers apart, especially the green peppers will just split, but not with the Tier1-C. You'll notice I was able to leverage the tip with that unsharpened swedge, and even though it's a larger knife at 1/4 inch thick steel, no problem at all. And after all of this, all of the use, all of the fire prep, just enjoying my afternoon, having an absolutely wonderful and fantastic day with my family, getting my fire prepared, and settling into a wonderful evening. The Phobos Tier1-C, an awesome knife, and doing exactly what I needed to during my outdoor use, in my outdoor adventure, and out in the mountains. It's a truly fantastic knife, and I can definitely say I absolutely love it. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. The Phobos Knives Tier1-C in 3V, a gorgeous knife, absolutely beautiful, a solid performer. Now, all in all, it did a fantastic job. There were a few things that, in my personal opinion and for my personal likes, just weren't, I guess, what would make this 100% for me, but it's a darn good knife. So again, for me, my own hand size, what I do like is the fact that it has this awesome choil, very nice to index, and actually melts into your hands wonderfully. But the only issue that I have is it's a little thin on the back end towards the pommel. I would like it to flare out just a little bit more for more of those chopping tasks. I think, in my opinion, that would make this a little more well-rounded. This does a great job with the batoning and splitting. This does a great job with carving, and especially having the forward choil, the ability to get in and do that work wonderfully. I mean, that does work out very well, but just a little bit limited, where if you're going to be doing doing limbing and chopping tasks, the knife is heavy and it would have a potential to slide out of your hand. So just from a safety and a security standpoint, I would like just a little more flair on the back for my own personal needs. However, one good bonus, an oversized lanyard hole. So you can kind of combat the fact that it doesn't have the oversized pommel or the flare in the back by putting a little wrap and just securing it with a lanyard. So you can get around it, but again, just for me and my own personal opinion, just a little more flair would have gone a long way. But some of the subtleties that I do very much like, the fact that the handle slabs are contoured and they taper in. That does work very well when you get on that choil for overall comfort while you're working with the knife. It keeps the corners sort of chamfered down and it doesn't dig into your hands, and especially after prolonged use, that does work very well. The jimping, it's aggressive enough, yet it's softened enough that it doesn't tear up your hands. They've kind of knocked the corners down and chamfered it over, and everything's just nicely finished. Again, very nicely done. Some of the subtleties, like an oversized ferro rod and scraping knot. Now, there is a very specific reason for the unsharpened swedge and for the false edge on top, and in fact, it's contoured a very specific way to reduce fatigue on the knife and allow the knife to flex without snapping. So there is a lot of design that goes into this beyond some of the basic features that really does enhance this knife and the performance. And even, like, for example, the grind. A full convex from the top of the saber grind all the way down to the secondary bevel. So it gives you some strength and rigidity. It gives it a little more mass and heft. It aids in the splitting capability. The V grind on the bottom, just a touch thick behind the edge. In my opinion, it does a couple of things. One, it's going to be good and strong and durable. It's going to do a great job at splitting. It's going to chop okay. But being a little bit thick behind the edge, in my opinion, means it's going to be a little less slicey. It did a pretty good job, all things considered, but just a little bit less slicey, where this is a little bit beefier of a knife. But in terms of the edge retention, after all of that use, I haven't even as much as touched up this knife. I can't even tell if I really cleaned it. I think I did. But a couple little snags, probably more on the paper than anything else. Very, very sharp. I mean, feeling really, really good. Not just to the touch, but the paper test kind of showing. Seems to be mostly shaving some hairs and doing a pretty good job there. So all in all, I mean, the quality of this is absolutely fantastic. Not to mention the absolutely gorgeous sheath. You saw me working on this, and anytime you see me, turning something into a little bit of a project, that's because I'm committed to it. That's because when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is my knife now. I have so many things in my collection that a lot of stuff, it comes, it goes. I get it, I sell it. I get it, I give it away. I get it, I just don't use it. But I committed to this because of the beauty and the quality and the overall presentation and package that you get. And I love the fact that on top of all of this, this sheath is just awesome, awesome, awesome. It's actually fully ambidextrous, which is great. It's going to take a little bit to kind of seat the knife for your given hand and what you need to do, but it is certainly ambidextrous, so that works out extremely well. Multi-positioned and just a beautiful, beautiful package. I like the fact that the straps get pretty much clear out of the way. You probably don't even need the top strap. To be honest, there's so much retention in this that it does a fantastic job, and it's just beautiful. Finished off with that ferro rod holder, again, paying attention to the details, rounding out the package, and giving you an awesome offering for your weekend warrior or maybe an operator. And so again, guys, there you have it, the Phobos Tier1-C. Field use footage, little bit of a project, and just an awesome package. So again, beautifully done to the people at FOBOS Knives. Well done, absolutely awesome. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor. Take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.